So the name of the location we're starting this story in is the Sheep Mountain Wilderness, which is about 40 miles north of Las Vegas and south of Area 51, part of the Desert National Wildlife Refuge in Nevada. It's roughly 1.6 million acres, which is twice the size of Rhode Island. The Desert National Wildlife Refuge is a protected wildlife refuge administered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This range is part of the larger Desert National Wildlife Refuge complex, which includes the Ash Meadows National Wildlife Refuge, the Moapa Valley National Wildlife Refuge, and the word I definitely don't even know if I'm going to try and pronounce, Paranat National Wildlife Refuge.
I just wanted to see how many times I could get you to say National Wildlife Refuge.
That's fine. I'm going to do it every time because that is the full name of all those places. So here we go. I'm going to enter that thing in here. Paranat. Oh,
Paranat.
It detected it as a Hindi, and it wants to translate to English as Under Armour. Hold on.
Is it a sponsored wildlife refuge?
It does not want to let me. Now it's translating it into. Yeah, it won't let me pick English. It's just like no.
I'm gonna say Paranat.
Here, I think I got it. Let me turn this up. Here we go.
Paranagit.
Paranagit National Wildlife Refuge.
All right, and if that's wrong too, because this one's so unique, it could be wrong also. I'm sure you can call the number and let us know in a really nice or really mean way. That'd be okay. So obviously, as we said before, this is Nevada. It was created in 1936 to provide habitat and protection for the desert bighorn sheep and other desert wildlife. And now we're going to refer to it as Desert NWR, so I don't have to say National Wildlife Refuge, because it's a tongue twister, and I'm actually surprised I got through all those without screwing them up. So the Desert NWR, almost said NDR.
NWA.
NWA is the largest wildlife refuge outside of Alaska. Look, we shortened it and said it again anyway.
Yep.
Local census info. So the NWR has been home to people for thousands of years, from Niue, Western Shoshone, and Nuwu and Nuwovi, Southern. Jeez, holy cow, you're killing me here. This is on purpose. Southern Paiute and Chemwavy.
We are going to get a lot of...
Shemwavy.
I'm
going to try that one, too, because I want to see if I got it right.
So as he's checking
what do you think it is?
Shemwavy, I think.
All right, let's see. I've been turning the volume down because I kept getting those Windows noises last time. Chemawavy. I was pretty dang close for not knowing it all. I'm giving myself 75% credit on that one.
For everyone who's listening, we always take flack for saying names wrong. So sometimes doing episode research, I will plug in a lot of tough names for Joe to try to...
Just to throw me off, which I appreciate because I think it's funny. And a lot of people do too.
Yeah.
So if you don't, call that number and let us know.
Yes.
So here's some interesting facts about Nevada. Nevada was named after the Sierra Nevada mountain range, which it shares with California. The word Nevada means snow-covered in Spanish. I didn't know that because I don't speak Spanish.
I didn't know that either.
The land speed record of 760.343 miles per hour, and for our overseas listeners, 1,223.657 kilometers per hour, was set in the Black Rock Desert in 1997 and was the first to beat the speed of sound on the land.
Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, and that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Around 150 couples getting married in Las Vegas every day.
Yep. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
And how many of those regret it the next day?
Well, I think the national average right now is 50% for divorce rate.
Yeah.
I bet it's like 50% in the first 24 hours for these groups, and then another 25 to 30% within the first couple of years. Nevada has a statewide law that allows the sale of alcohol from liquor stores, clubs, bars, and restaurants 24/7. Drinking and or being visibly intoxicated in public is also legal.
Anyone who's been to Vegas will know that.
Yeah. If it wasn't, it's definitely not enforced.
Yes.
The Sphinx at the Luxor Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas is bigger, 110 feet or 33.5 meters, than the original in Egypt. However, the casino's pyramid is smaller than the Great Pyramid of Giza to avoid interrupting flights to the nearby Las Vegas International Airport.
Not in my notes. I have Las Vegan.
Las Vegan. It auto-corrected you. See, I didn't. I'm not Ron Burgundy. Yeah. I was able to navigate around that one. That's crazy though, because you know that they wanted it to be either the same size. They probably were like, we're going to have the exact dimensions. And the government's like, no, you're going to block planes. So we're not going to allow that. There are 300 plus named mountain ranges running through Nevada, more than any other state. These include the Carson Range of the Sierra Nevadas, a mountain chain that is mostly in California. There are over 44,000 acres of human-made reservoirs in Nevada. That's what happens when you open up a city in the desert.
Yep.
When Lake Mead was first created in the 1930s, the Mormon town of St. Thomas was drowned. Now the ghost town is exposed due to lowered lake levels. I didn't know that. So there's an actual town like in Lake Mead that because it's lowering. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, until I did this research, and now that it's the level of the lake's been dropping
between the ghost towns and barrels full of bodies.
Yeah. So a lot of interesting things are showing up in Lake Mead.
Jeez,
I've been to Lake Mead. It was pretty cool. It was not as low as it is now, but cool place to boat.
It was like the mob is like, we're making a city. Here's a reservoir. Oh, you have a town? Sorry. There are more hot springs in Nevada than any other state in the U.S., with over 300 naturally occurring ones. The federal government owns 87% of Nevada's land. The kangaroo rat found in Nevada's Death Valley can live its entire life without drinking a single drop of water. Side note, they live for 5 hours. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't know how long they live. I'm guessing it's a long time because that's a pretty wild adaptation to the environment.
Yeah.
Nevada is home to over 50% of the wild horse population in the U.S. Actually, you know what? The kangaroo rat, I want to look this up when you're talking.
Okay.
I think they can actually gather the sweat from like their ears and drink it. Like they scoop it up. I think I saw a video on... it was the Netflix series, Planet Earth at Night.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
No.
It's really good. They use some like crazy new cameras where they can actually see like the wildlife without the old one where they'd shine like the giant light.
Like the spotlight?
Yeah, and it was terrible. And they're like flashing around trying to catch it. They use like super duper expensive night vision to catch it. It's awesome. So plug for... I think it's Planet. I don't even know if that's what it's called.
I found it interesting that they have 50% of the wild horse population in the U.S. I would have never guessed Nevada would have that just with how much
I'm so uninformed. I didn't know there still was a wild horse population.
It's probably like 100.
Yeah, like they got to be protected because I just like had the minor urge to go like, can I go catch one and break it? And then it's like mine. Like, can you do you get a permit? Like you can go catch one.
This is an 1870.
But I want it to be. I just got a cowboy hat. I was at Levitate Music Festival in Massachusetts. I got a cowboy. I'm a cowboy now.
You are?
I am.
Where is it?
I should have wore it. That would have been the next episode. I'll wear it. So. I'll go half cowboy.
Half cowboy.
So we'll talk about the climate. Spring and fall are the best times to visit the desert.
Yeah.
Summer gets very hot. If you could imagine that the summer in the desert is
anyone who's been to Las Vegas, you don't go in the summer. It's
or you do to avoid the crowds.
Yeah. And stay indoors. It gets hot.
Absolutely. Don't be on the strip unless it's night.
Not. I've been there in the summer. It's not even enjoyable in a pool. It's so like hot. At least when I was there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've gone. March time frame, which it's still getting pretty hot, but yeah, it can get too much.
Yep.
Annual rainfall in the range varies from less than 4 inches or 102 millimeters in the valleys to over 15 inches on the mountain peaks. So the mountain peaks are getting a little bit of rain.
It's dry though.
It's still dry. Yeah,
it's very dry.
It's not a lot, but it's more than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Weather here can be extreme. Temperatures may reach upwards of 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius in the summer and drop to 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 Celsius in just 24 hours.
It's a dry heat, though.
It's a dry heat.
That's what people always say.
It's such a dry heat. Dress in layers to protect yourself from the sun. That is the big mistake we always talk about on this is people go to the desert thinking, ooh, shorts, T-shirt, things that will... No, you want to cover your skin.
Watch old Western movies and dress... See how they dress.
Yes.
And that's how you should dress in the desert.
Yep.
Not in real, like...
Yeah, you burn, you're losing more water with the skin contact than you would sweating.
If I've hiked with sunburn, it's brutal, and it sucks. I mean, unless you like the suffering, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Even if you like the suffering, it's not worth it. The desert NWR contains 6 major mountain ranges, including the Sheep Range with heights of up to 10,000 feet, 3,000 meters, and valleys around 2,500 feet or 800 meters. I don't know. Do you want me to explain this graph somehow?
No, it was just a kind of cool little graph that just shows kind of what elevation some of the
what plants grow?
Yeah, so like lower elevations, you are going to find Joshua trees in this area. At the top, 10,000 feet, you're going to find the bristlecone trees and pines and firs and stuff. So
it's wild how a Joshua tree can survive at like no rain, high temps.
Yeah,
because it looks like it needs water. The rest of those plants, the saltbush, that creosote bush, whatever it is.
Yeah,
they look like the types of plants that would just not need water.
Yeah,
but hey.
Yeah,
nature gonna nature.
nature.
So some of the animals that you might encounter where Terry went missing: bighorn sheep, the American badger, roadrunner, desert blonde tarantula, the sidewinder,
snake,
the Panamint rattlesnake, the common king snake, which over 12 types of snakes in that area, several lizard species, coyotes, bobcats, and cougars. So
I think your main threat in this area is going to be snakes.
Yes.
Anytime you hike in a desert environment, you got to be mindful of where you're stepping. If you get bit by a rattlesnake out, and you don't have any anti-venom, it could kill you.
Yep. Yeah, you don't. That's a bad spot.
Yeah.
You'll clot your blood up and you'll be done. If you're heading beyond Corn Creek, you need high clearance vehicle. 4-wheel drive is suggested. You make sure your vehicle is ready for the trip. Check your tires, fuel. So they're giving a lot of tips about you're kind of stuck out there. Like you make sure this thing's going to handle it. Yes.
Yeah, it's very rugged past this Corn Creek area.
Yeah, they say the most common problem people experience is flat tires. A spare is a must.
Yeah.
Mine shafts pose a serious threat to anyone not familiar with the area. So with the digging, you could just fall into one of those. That's no good. Exposure and lack of natural water are big. So there's heat, there's sun. It is the desert.
Yes.
It says carry and drink at least 1 gallon or 4 liters of water per person per day. Water in springs and water developments, also known as guzzlers, is for wildlife and emergency use only, with the exception of Wiregrass Spring near Hidden Forest Cabin. All water must be purified prior to consumption.
This is interesting, too. I've never hiked in an area where you're restricted from the natural water. So that you really got to be prepared and bring your own water. And
are they springs?
Yeah, I mean, they are.
Do they not refill fast or something, or they just don't want to contaminate it?
In Canyonlands, when we hike there, the springs are very erratic. And they had charts up in the ranger station.
Oh, sometimes they're dry.
They mark the coordinates, and when we checked them all, they were dry.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I know you've talked about it before, but there's been a couple times where you're oh yeah, there's water up there, and you go, and then it's gone.
Whenever you hike in a desert environment, just assume you're not going to find natural water, so you really got to carry in everything you plan on drinking.
Yes.
So.
Water is rare, yet a vital commodity in the desert. The only creek and pond, as well as the springs found on the refuge, provide life-sustaining water for all the wildlife and are home for aquatic species. There are flash floods because the ground doesn't absorb water good if it rains a lot. Flash floods can happen quickly and during any time of the year, particularly during the summer monsoons. A rainstorm miles away can cause a flash flood through a storm-free area.
We learned that in Zion.
Yes.
I remember
the
guy telling us that even if it rains 30, 40 miles away, that it can cause
none of it gets absorbed, so it just keeps going.
Yeah, go out in your yard when it hasn't rained for 3 weeks and pour a bucket of water in the ground. It doesn't soak in; it runs off.
Yeah.
So
now do that to the scale of Earth, and that's where we should tell that story for a Patreon episode about how all those people died, and it was the most death that Park's seen ever.
Real cheery story.
Yeah, but we were in the freaking canyon where they died, but we were smart about it. We followed the instructions, got out 2 hours early.
We were the last group they gave a permit to.
Yeah.
And then we got out and they weren't letting anyone else. They weren't issuing new permits. Once you have a permit, they can't legally take it from you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and a group went in after they shouldn't have, and You have to sign up for Patreon. We'll do a Patreon episode on that. So there you go.
There you go.
But if you are in an area with flash flood and you hear storms, you want to keep to higher ground. Avoid hiking and camping in washes and canyons. Flash floods are misleading in their depth and speed. Never attempt to drive through or otherwise enter flood water. So it's pretty simple to see. If you go to those areas, you can look. It looks like dried up riverbeds.
Yeah,
and you can see kind of where they occur. And
you'll see debris from trees and you'll see boulders. Like in Zion, there were boulders the size of like Greyhound buses that would get moved down the Narrows from water flow.
Yeah, you do not want to be in the waters. They move. It's ridiculous how fast it moves. So be mindful of that. Restricted areas. The western half of Desert NWR is used by the U.S. Air Force and as part of the Nevada Test and Training Range.
Yep.
So
a lot of military presence out in this area.
You don't want to wander.
No.
So difficulty in general. Due to the conditions and nature of desert hiking, this could be a tough area to hike if you are not prepared. So cell phone reception is also very sparse. Still bring it with you. We always say that.
Yeah.
But there are numerous activities for people to do. Biking on the public roads only, hiking and horseback riding, breaking in your brand new horse that you found. Don't do that last one. It's like Pokemon. I'm just going to go catch one. Got to catch them all. Camping is allowed year-round on the refuge in the designated areas. So that's pretty cool.